ladies and gentlemen, you're just going to have to... I saw what you did. You pointed... No, don't even restart it. He can do the math. It's not a big deal. You're listening to another edition of DIY Money.
DIY Money.
Don't cut that. That's gold right there, Jerry. Gold.
Now the clock's off.
It is. It's going to drive you nuts, isn't it?
It's going to drive me nuts.
If you're not watching on YouTube, let me just paint the scene for you. We have, obviously, a studio, which you have... If you would have checked it out on YouTube, you would know we have this beautiful studio, but we also have this clock that tells us to keep the...
They can't see it.
The show.
Right,
nope, we can see it.
Mm-hmm.
It drives Daniel nuts when it does not correlate with our actual showtime.
I know.
So I was doing the intro, I was in the zone, and I saw his finger go, like, it's not right.
Got to do an adjustment and everything.
All right, housekeeping odds and ends. Speaking of YouTube, hit us up. DIY Money on YouTube. The last episode, Logan, fire, bringing him out. Boy, they love him.
They do.
I kind of am getting a little self-conscious.
Yeah, now that's just me and you.
You're not interested in the mid-40-year-old bald guy? What's up?
Not the way our listeners go.
Not the way our listeners go. All right, but it was a great question. It was from Danielle. She threw in a video question, which was fun. We're actually asking folks to do that. You know the format of the show. We send in audio questions, or people send in audio questions. If we choose to use those audio questions on the show, we kick you a $25 Amazon gift card. But because we have YouTube now blowing up, we're trying to say, hey, send us a video question, and we'll insert it into the YouTube show. You'll be a superstar. Boom. Still $25 Amazon gift card. Oh, by the way, we need some junior questions. I'm a little disappointed. I need some junior questions so that we can send your junior $25 stockpile gift certificate, and they can start piling the cheddar.
Or stocks.
The cheddar.
It's not Cheddar Pile.
Anyways.
Gosh. Stockpile.com.
Okay,
Not
it'd
sponsored.
be a cooler name if they did that.
Cheddar Pile?
Mm-hmm. Cheddar. Not Cheddar Pile. Cheddar.
Just cheddar.
Cheddar.
Cheddar. No R.
No R. You know
Weird.
the latest one? My son, oh shoot, now I totally blanked. He hasn't, darn it.
That was a good story.
He's got a new word, and I'm trying, I'll bring it out next episode. Let's go to the questions at hand. This one comes from Viet. Viet, what do you got?
Hi guys, my name is Viet Nguyen. I am 26 years old, living in Fargo, North Dakota, earning about $62,500 before taxes, with the company giving me roughly $6,000 towards my 401a. This is a contribution from my employer, not a match. I also have a Roth, which as of February 2021 valued around $22,000, and I am currently saving about 30% of my income, with the first 20% going towards retirement investing. The other 10% is going to short-term goals, which are 5 years out, where I hope to upgrade my '06 Toyota for another used Toyota and for my wedding. I have a long-term goal of retiring early and being charitable. My question is for that initial 20% of savings for retirement. 9% is from my employer, and I'm deciding between my personal HSA and my Roth. I have a high deductible health plan, and my deductible is about $1,800. I'm keeping to that 20% for retirement unless you believe it's too high, so I can't max out both the HSA or the Roth yet, and I can't decide which one to max out first. I see so many conflicting ideas, but I want to get your opinion. Currently, I am contributing to both. I'm saving my deductible and my HSA and everything else to my Roth until I hit that 20% of my income for retirement. I'm a healthy guy, goes to the gym every other day, and I'm planning on not using my HSA until I retire by saving the receipts. I fear if I max out the HSA first, I won't have the flexibility to take out the contributions like a Roth, nor do I want to wait until I'm 65 to use it like a traditional IRA. But I understand that triple tax benefit like no other. While I currently have a fully funded emergency cash fund of about 5 months, I'm curious on what are your thoughts on maxing out either a Roth or an HSA for individuals in my position. Thank you.
Wow.
A lot of good info.
Yeah, but I'm a little disappointed in Viet.
Yeah?
Yeah, every other day to the gym. That's weak.
You got to have rest days.
No, you got to hit that gym, Viet, hard.
There's balance.
Jocko Willing, 4:30, boom. Every
Balance.
day. No, I'm just messing around. That was great. A little humble brag there. He threw that in. I'm a healthy guy. I go to the gym every other day. Viet's fire. He's great. Anyways, I mean, we have a plethora of information here, and I'm curious. I'm very curious to your thoughts. You didn't make any notes. Do I need to pass my notes to you?
Probably.
Or are you just the savant who
Heavily
has it right here in the brain? I don't know. Here's one question I have for you, Viet. You talked about short-term goals, and you talked about upgrading your 2006 Toyota for another Toyota, which I think is smart. I like Toyota. We're in Central Kentucky, where most Toyotas are made.
Toyota country.
Well, actually, now they're significantly being made in Texas. Anyways, but you didn't mention a house, and I'm curious. You mentioned the wedding. You mentioned the Toyota. So you got the girl. You got the car. You don't have the house. So I'm curious as to where that is in the plans. Now, he didn't bring it up, and it was a very detailed question, so I'm going to mention that, but I'm not even going to address it. I'm just going to address what he asked, which is 20% of his savings, which he's making approximately 60-some thousand. 12,000 is his retirement savings. Should it go into the Roth or the HSA? I'm going to say Roth. That's what I'm going to say. I think there's more flexibility for his goals and objectives with the Roth. However, why not split them up? That's the other thing I was thinking. Why not split them up? And so therefore you've got, half of it in the Roth, which is going to be your max contribution anyways, and the other half in the HSA, which is about going to be your max contribution anyways. So I guess my suspicion, unless I missed something with the question, is once you max out both and you're still within the 20% that you are putting towards retirement.
Yeah, was he counting the roughly 9% employer contribution as part of that 20%?
I got a little confused on that because he said he has a $6,000 401a contribution, not a match. So are they contributing 6 and then matching 9%?
So I understood it as they're putting in 6,000.
Yep.
And that is about 9% of his income. So then the remaining 11% he is personally saving is how I interpret it, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think he's saving 20 because he said he's saving 30% of his income. 20% of it's going towards retirement savings, and then the other 10 is going towards his short-term goals. So I'm thinking, and I like how you derive to the 9%. That makes sense. I'm thinking that, and he clarified, that's not a match.
Yeah.
That is a contribution. So I don't see. So that's why I don't think the question was, do I up this and go to my retirement plan? Again, the question is, I've got 20%, which is 12,000. Well, you can't go more than what is the contribution in a Roth right now?
Yeah, you're looking at
young
what,
guy.
6,000 in a Roth and 550 for an individual.
Could Viet have missed the one common component of this, which is contribution limits?
The one common component?
The one, not common, the one, I don't know, easily to graze over, the nuance that kind of makes this, meaning he said, hey, I got 20%, which is 12,000, where's the best place to put it? Well, you can only put 6,000 in a Roth.
Yeah, so, unless the employer portion that he's putting in is, if he's counting that in the 20%, then he has less than we're thinking. So it's important to know the number. But philosophically, we can still talk about the difference between the Roth and the HSA.
Okay.
But
again,
because it'd be important to know his exact numbers to know exactly where it goes. But if he can max out both,
sounds like he needs a plan. It sounds like a real quick, overview through our wealth development process. So there's a humble plug there.
Yeah,
Anyways.
It doesn't hurt to do those kind of things with your money.
Go ahead.
But so looking at the Roth IRA versus the HSA, if you're using both for retirement, the HSA can be a powerful tool because you're going to have significantly more medical expenses than you expect in retirement. And if you're doing the strategy that he's talking about, utilizing the saving of receipts between now and retirement, those funds are accessible to you as health reimbursements as long as you've not taken a deduction on any of those medical expenses between now and the time that you retire. So the way that works is, let's say you retire at age, 65, and you've got say you're age 35 right now. You have 30 years of medical expenses that you've prudently saved up in either one of those accordion file things or on Dropbox, hoping that they don't go out of business. Whatever that is, they're in the cloud.
That is.
Yeah, they're in the cloud, or they're actual physical
receipts. Out of business.
Whatever it is. I mean, that's the one downside to this plan is you got to figure out how for the next 30 years to keep accurate records of these medical receipts. Because if you actually keep paper, I mean, you keep a receipt in an accordion file for like 3 years, and all of a sudden you can't see it anymore. So that's one thing to think about. So just keep really good ledgers, whatever that looks like to you, something that you could show the IRS. But if you can keep that for the next 30 years, I mean, you're going to add up a lot of stuff in medical expenses. And the day that you retire, you can go, I'm going to reimburse myself for that and take that out, and you've got that as spending money. If you decide to retire early, age 55, you can do any of the medical expenses that you spent up to then. And if you're retiring early, you're going to need money for medical between the time that you retire and when you start, the time that you retire early and when you can get on things like Medicare and things like that. You're just going to have higher medical expenses than you think if you actually retire early, I would wager to say. Unless you're on a program like, teachers and some other industries will have like early retiree healthcare. If you're not in one of those programs, you have to actually go out and buy your healthcare prior to retirement. Your healthcare expenses are going to be significantly higher than somebody who's employed. That's just a matter of fact. So I like the HSA option. The Roth option is good. The HSA, you're getting the triple tax benefit. Roth option is generally always good for most people, depending on their tax bracket.
Let me clarify one thing, though, because he said something about 65 and so forth. Understand, you can reimburse yourself HSA expenses at any point in time.
Yeah.
So even though you're a healthy young man, you buy Pepto-Bismol or whatever it may be. And I know there's some clarification there, but I'm assuming, I know that's a dangerous word, but he keeps receipts for things he buys for cold products or
you need to go look at the list because they do change it from time to time and understand what's on the list as a qualified health expense.
But at 50, he mentioned retiring early. At 50, if you had 20 years of medical expenses, you wanted to retire early, you can't yet get it your Roth, and you could then deduct the HSA. You don't have to wait till 65 to do that.
No, you can access that HSA anytime, which is why utilizing an HSA can be a very powerful tool because it's sort of a retirement account that you can also tap early if you really needed it, as long as you've got the documentation to back that up.
When does the exchange open again?
When does the exchange open?
Yeah.
There's open enrollment in the fall.
In the fall.
Yeah.
I might have to finally make the leap. I mean, seriously, I run the numbers in my brain. I've never really run them on paper, which I probably should do, and I think I might have to do that.
Yeah.
You've convinced me.
It's good. But I like the Roth IRA.
We grazed over that real quick, didn't we? Like, whatever, moving on.
Yeah. We the time plus whatever
the time, the clock. That's right. My bad.
Add in 37.63 or something like that to that. So it's really kind of difficult to do the math here on the fly. Though we do math day in and day out.
You were going to say about the Roth.
Yeah. So anyhow, the Roth's an awesome option for retirement. You get to pull out contributions if you really need them pre-retirement age. So that's a good option. So a little bit of record keeping that you have to do with that. Pretty much anything that you're going to do to retire early is going to require some level of record keeping, whether that's HSA, healthcare receipts, or keeping track of your contributions when you're putting them into a Roth. There's no one-size-fits-all rule that one is better for the other. It really comes down to what's the individual plan and what does that look like. So it's hard to know with kind of the 1 or 2 minutes of information we have with Viet, but I like both of those options. Some of the things I would look at and consider if I was sitting down with somebody is what's the tax rate? So how valuable is that HSA tax deduction that you're getting by putting money in there? The higher your tax bracket is, the more I would veer that way because you're now getting a deduction rather than saving into a Roth, not getting a deduction, and not having to pay taxes later. So that's one thing I would look at. If you're a very low tax bracket, it might flip the other way where I go, okay, well, if you're going to go into a higher tax bracket over time, saving in the Roth may be a better option. It really comes down to each individual circumstance.
There you go. And that's how we conclude this wonderful episode of DIY Money.
Yeah. What do we miss? Is there anything between those two?
And he was very, very detailed in his question, and I
Mm-hmm.
think we were fairly detailed in ours. I would throw the one, caveat is the house down payment, or maybe he owns a house. Maybe that's not, anything. I don't know. Then that could potentially change the strategy altogether.
But savings rate is excellent when you get married.
Huge.
If you can maintain this level of savings rate, you will be on a really good path to make some great decisions later on in life, potentially early retirement.
Read the chapter on marriage and money in the DIY Money book, and make sure that Viet, your spouse, your future spouse, is on the same page as you, because that's going to be key. And if they are not, then they need to acquiesce to your CFO brain. There you go.
There you go.
All right, let's wrap this sucker up. Remember, friends, the secret to wealth is pretty simple. Live on less than you make, invest the rest in a variety of areas, and do so for a very long time. Make it a great one.